My ex-wife cheated with my golden brother and had his baby. Now, after my promotion, my family, who always resented me, is begging for money. Okay, buckle up, because this isn't just a story about a bad divorce, it's about a lifetime of injustice, betrayal, and finally, a moment of absolutely perfect, chilling vindication. Can you imagine being treated like an outsider in your own family, watching your brother get everything, only to have your own wife fall for his toxic charm and try to bleed you dry? Well, that was just the appetizer to a much, much darker meal. Growing up, my brother was always the golden child. I was just there. Like furniture. My parents never saw me as anything more. The final straw came after I got into college, a huge achievement for me, something I was incredibly proud of. But instead of throwing me a party, they threw one for my brother, saying they didn't want him to feel left out. Can you believe the audacity? They told me I should be uplifting him, not throwing a tantrum. That day, my heart broke, and I swore I'd never look back. I worked my tail off, took out loans, and put myself through college. I cut them out completely, and honestly, they didn't even try to reach out. Years passed. I built a good life for myself. I met someone, we got married, and things were comfortable. Then, out of the blue, my brother reached out. He and my parents apparently missed me. Part of me, a small, foolish part, wanted that connection, wanted to believe things could change. So, I agreed to meet them. It was awkward, stiff, but they seemed to be making an effort. I thought, okay, maybe I invited them to my home, trying to bridge the gap. That was my first mistake. That's when I introduced my brother to my wife. They started an affair. She got pregnant. And for a while, I was ecstatic, over the moon, thinking it was our baby. But then, my brother started visiting more. He'd touch her pregnant belly, speak to it, and my wife would just brush off my discomfort. Something felt off. My gut screamed at me. So, late one night, while she was asleep, I did it. I checked her phone. And everything I feared, everything my gut had warned me about, was right there, staring me in the face. The texts were sickening. Not only was the baby unequivocally his, but they'd been planning this for months. They planned to let me believe it was mine, wait until after the birth, then she'd divorce me, marry him, and they'd live off my child support and settlements. My life was a joke to them. The next morning, I confronted her. She tried to deny it, but eventually, she broke down and confessed. Just like that, my 2-year marriage was over. And my family? The ones who had missed me so much. They sided with my brother. All their talk about us being equally important? Lies. When my ex and my brother announced their engagement on social media, my entire family celebrated. Nobody cared about my broken heart, my shattered trust, the 6 months of lies. They told me I should be happy for them, that this was for the best. They even refused to acknowledge my brother had done anything wrong. I cut them out again. For good this time. But this betrayal had consequences, and not just emotional ones. My divorce was a nightmare. My ex-wife, with my family's backing, cooked up some story about me being toxic and controlling, forcing her to quit her job. My parents, vouched for her, claiming they'd cut me off years ago because of my misogynistic attitude. It was a complete fabrication, a coordinated attack. The evidence stacked against me, and I lost a huge chunk of money, my car, everything. But somehow, I clung to the house. I was just relieved it was over. I just wanted them out of my life forever. I drowned myself in work. I pushed myself harder than ever, determined to rise above the ashes. And it paid off. 2 weeks ago, I got a massive promotion, better position, better salary, a company car. The works. I was finally, truly happy. I treated myself to a solo dinner, posted about it online, thinking nothing of it. Then, the relentless calls started. My mother. She wanted me to visit. I ignored her for days, but she wouldn't quit. She even showed up at my office, causing a scene, fighting with the receptionist. Mortified, I promised to visit, just to get rid of her. A few days later, I went to their new, bigger house, bought with my settlement money and alimony. I later realized my brother wasn't there, my ex was asleep. Just my parents. I didn't make small talk. I just waited. Finally, my dad blurted it out: my brother had been fired. My alimony, wasn't enough anymore. They saw my promotion post. They wanted me to help them. I was stunned. Shocked into silence for several minutes. After everything, the betrayal, the lies, the financial ruin they orchestrated, they had the gall to ask me for money? I didn't say a word. I just stood up and walked out. As I opened the door, my brother was standing there. My parents were yelling for me to listen. He looked alarmed. I kept walking. It was pouring rain, and I was soaked by the time I reached my car. I was already in a foul mood. And this is where, maybe, I crossed a line. My parents and brother followed me, begging. And then, my brother, the golden child, the smug, arrogant one who'd gotten everything handed to him, he started pleading with me. It was weird. It must have taken a lot to humble him like that, so I knew they were truly in a bad place. But I snapped. I told them to leave me alone. I told them they could beg on the streets if they were that hard up for cash, because a stranger, a complete stranger, would probably have more pity on them than I ever would. Then, I got in my car and drove away, leaving them standing there in the rain. And I won't lie, it was incredibly satisfying. It's been a couple of days. My mother won't stop texting me, and a tiny part of me feels guilty. I have enough, a little money wouldn't hurt. But then I remember everything they did. It feels like they just see me as a cash machine. So, I decided no. I wouldn't help them. They'd thrown me under the bus my entire life, even during the divorce. Why should I think twice now? I told my mother to stop, or I'd involve my lawyers. That got their attention. A few days later, my brother showed up at my house. He actually said he felt sorry for my childhood, but then added, with a straight face, that he was inherently better than me, which is why he was always favored. He then tried to manipulate me, saying I should just help our parents like any normal child would, instead of holding childish grudges. I laughed in his face. It was so demented. I told him to go find a job instead of wasting his time trying to put me down. That hit a nerve. He started yelling, accusing me of being jealous, saying I was taking revenge because our parents and my ex-wife preferred him. I just agreed. Yep, I said, that's exactly what I'm doing. And there's nothing you can do about it. He threatened me, swore he'd make me cough up the money. I wasn't bothered. He's all talk. Then, my ex-wife called. I almost didn't answer, but I figured it was better than another unexpected visit. And seriously, the entitlement. She started politely, admitting they were struggling, but then tried to guilt-trip me. Your parents paid for everything growing up, she said. I did my best to be a good wife. I reminded her that my parents didn't give a damn about me, and she cheated on me with the brother they preferred. Her manipulation failed spectacularly. I told her I was already paying her undeserved alimony thanks to my family's lies. She started sobbing, called me selfish, and then threatened me. She said she'd get the law involved again, demand higher alimony, and drag me back to court to humiliate me. I'd like to see you try, I told her. The first time, I was broken, emotionally drained. I just gave in. But this time? Oh no. This time, I was ready to fight. And fight I did. She followed through, filing for higher alimony, citing my promotion. But I wasn't letting things slide. I rallied our mutual friends, cousins, anyone who knew the truth. I explained everything, including the childhood trauma and their recent manipulations. They were shocked, and they agreed to testify. My lawyer, now fully armed with evidence of my family's lifelong mistreatment and my ex's lies, was ready to not just fight the increase, but to cut off alimony altogether. I pulled out all the stops, video testimonials, sworn statements. They had nothing. Yesterday, the judge ruled in my favor. No more alimony. It was over. I was probably the happiest man on earth. Seeing the smug look wiped clean off their faces, watching my ex-wife look like she was about to burst into tears? Pure, unadulterated satisfaction. I just wanted to go home, grab some takeout, and celebrate. But my family wasn't done with their theatrics. As I pulled up to my house, there it was, my brother's car. And my entire family, standing right outside my door, blocking my way in. I was blindsided. My dad immediately launched into a lecture, shaming me for what I'd done in court, accusing me of betraying them, having no sense of responsibility. I just stood there. Silent. I wasn't giving them the satisfaction of a reaction. They wanted a fight, they wanted me to crack. But I'm not that naive anymore. My silence infuriated them. My mother demanded I show respect. I still didn't speak. Finally, my brother snapped. He grabbed me by the collar. He tried to hit me, but my dad, surprisingly, pulled him back just in time. My brother was screaming, calling me a jealous loser who'd never amount to anything. It was honestly hilarious coming from an unemployed guy living off his parents and begging me for money. I calmly told them to leave, or I was calling the cops, and given their financial situation, they should probably run. Begrudgingly, they left. My mother tried one last attempt at shaming me, but it was useless. They haven't contacted me since. And I truly, deeply hope it stays that way. This entire saga, this twisted, painful journey, it made me stronger. I finally broke free. And honestly, it feels damn good. Story 2 rephrase *, you know that feeling when you've poured your entire soul into building a life, a home, a family, only to have it all ripped away by the very person you loved and the man you despised? My world shattered, not with a bang, but with the quiet click of a bedroom door, revealing a betrayal so profound it would cost me everything, my wife, my home, even my sanity. For years, I was the devoted husband. I handled everything, the house, the pets, the yard. I took care of my stepdaughter, whom I adored. My days started at 6 a.m. and often didn't end until 2 a.m. I even worked part-time to help out, while my wife, a lawyer, pursued her career. She'd even convinced me to donate my old car so I could drive one of hers. I gave everything. Then, last December, I walked in on her. In his house. With him. It was her stepdaughter's father, a man I'd been kicking off our property for years, constantly reigning in my anger. I'd always known he was trouble. The betrayal was gut-wrenching. I tried to forgive her. I really did. But I kept catching her talking to him, even making plans to meet other men. Inappropriate Snapchats, texts, all while she looked me in the eye and swore she wanted to make things work. She twisted it, saying that cheating was my fault, because I should have done something to stop it. She abused me, emotionally and sexually, using guilt and threats to force intimacy when I was clearly not ready. Then came the final blow, she got pregnant. After I caught her with him, I asked for a DNA test. She didn't hesitate. She went and got an abortion immediately, then blamed me for it. That was it. I was done. I left last month, quit my job. My family, thank God, took me in. But honestly, getting out of bed, even feeding myself, feels like an impossible task some days. We were married for less than a year, and I walked away with absolutely nothing. No spousal support, no car, no job, no home. I lost my stepdaughter, who I loved like my own. My mental health? Completely destroyed. And the worst part? I later found out she'd been cheating on me even when we were just dating. My whole relationship, my whole marriage, was a lie. A cruel, twisted game. I feel broken. I'm battling severe depression and anxiety. Just leaving the house, even being with friends, is exhausting. I come home a sobbing mess. My lawyer, a trusted family friend, says there's little I can do legally. I know I need to take baby steps, get a new job, but it all feels impossible right now. I feel like the only one being punished. A friend told me she was planning a final jab. She was going to bring the AP, the man she cheated with, to our divorce hearing. Part of me wanted to crumble. How do you even deal with that? Friends offered to come, to support me, but some said I should just ignore them. I didn't know what to do. The divorce hearing was finally today. My story has been a descent into hell, starting with catching her in our bed, then the constant lies, the emotional and sexual abuse, the pregnancy, the abortion. She even threatened to kill herself if I left. But here I am. Alive. And she is permanently out of my life. I walked into that courthouse today. I didn't look at her, not once. My lawyer handled everything. I just needed to be present, sign the papers. She even tried to hand me some mail from the house, but I just grabbed it without a glance and kept walking. Inside, I was a wreck, but on the surface? I just kept a gentle smile. She, on the other hand, looked like she was about to cry. It wasn't until I got home that I noticed a note mixed in with the mail. And that's when I saw it. The ultimate, delicious twist. The AP wasn't at the hearing. Why? Because he got another girl pregnant. I tore that note to shreds. This woman, my ex-wife, who I loved with every fiber of my being, who I would have done anything for, gave up everything for a loser. A man who was seeing other women, a man who, I knew from experience, was lazy, had beaten her when they were together, and simply dropped his daughter off with his mother any chance he got. My stepdaughter, who called me dad because she barely knew him, the real one. His own mother once cried with joy at Christmas, telling me how happy she was that her granddaughter had me in her life. This new baby? It's going to destroy his life even further. My only hope is that the other woman gets away from him, for her sake and for the baby's. Today, I feel strange. I hit some new maxes at the gym, feeling physically strong. But I'm also very alone. Bouncing between absolute relief and a muted, quiet sadness. I thought this day would feel completely liberating, but honestly, I just wish none of us were suffering. It's a bittersweet victory, but a victory nonetheless.